Yo, what's good everybody? Welcome to another video. This is gonna be a leveling guide and build for Barbarian Season 2 in Diablo 4. We're gonna specialize into Upheaval because Upheaval is getting some amazing buffs I will show right now. I will also have this link of the patch notes in the pinned comment as well as this build on Diablo build, so keep an eye on there. But anyways, Upheaval damage increased from 0.7 to 0.77, and then of course Fierce Upheaval is getting also a buff to each stack, but the stack is reduced to 6 from 10, which is still 12% overall damage increased, and that's gonna, convert to I think pretty sweet numbers when it comes to Upheaval. Upheaval Double Swing have always been my best builds, my favorite builds. Also, you can see my other build, which will be right up there with Double Swing, leveling build. And as endgame build, I already have a mind stacked up and decked out for no basic skill, double swing upheaval build in one, but that's for later. Also like the change to Fortify, scaling from max HP instead of base HP, so you will see me pick Warcry Fortify over here. And also Rapture, one of my favorite skills. I already used it in my previous videos and builds in Season 1 because of attack speed. Now they're increasing it even more. And as far as I know, in Season 1, this was not counted towards the attack speed cap, which was 100%. So I was able to reach like above 150% attack speed with Rapture. And one aspect, I believe it was called Accelerating Aspect. Those two with Rapture don't count towards the cap. And some enhanced Rapture. Not sure if it's gonna help with damage, but I definitely focused on the strength nodes in the Paragon. But anyways, let's get into it. We are starting with Flail because one of the things we are lacking in this build so far would be vulnerable. So this perk right here is gonna help us get that vulnerable up. It's also flat 15% chance. It's not lucky hit. With lucky hit, it would be non-existent, but this is pretty good. So I'll probably bind this to dual wield to be a faster attacking, and so you can apply the vulnerable faster. Also get the generation, fury generation faster. So we're gonna start with that, then upheaval, just 1 point in each here, and we're gonna go with the berserking. This is gonna help out on bosses the most, because that's like the buff they've introduced in Season 1. Pretty sweet. We're not taking yet Furious Upheaval, which is the new buff passive. This is more for endgame. We need to get that berserking because it gives us damage increase, movement speed. Later on, we're gonna take some passes for damage reduction and fury generation. That's 4 buffs in one passive. That's just insane. Berserking also is getting like damage increase pretty much, because before it was additive, now it's gonna be multiplicative, which is more damage. So we will definitely focus on berserking. That was my goal in D4 since the beginning, to focus on straight up berserk. Now we can finally do that in Season 2. Next up, we have a Rallying Cry for that generation. And rest of the points after this, when leveling, I would put in Upheaval because of damage. Or if you're struggling with survivability, you can go with max HP. Same goes to this passive, Rallying Cry. Now it scales from max HP, so you can pick this one if you don't really struggle with regeneration, but I think you will. Or you could go another route. You could bind this to 2-ender and pick points here and Endless Fury. This is also getting buffed, so you could do we could do that too. But this is just for what I'm working with right now. Next up, we want to take Warcry for berserking. That's our source. Another one, if there's one target active, it's gonna come in handy because this passive only applies to enemies or a boss. But we are taking this for the 45. Once again, this is the chance, or the change, excuse me, when it scales from max HP, not base. Then you can also choose to go for Challenging Shout. If you're struggling with survivability, once again, you can ignore this and put points in Challenging Shout. Max HP increase and then Challenging Shout, but you're probably gonna lose the 45 here, so it depends about the situation. I believe you would have next points, and those would go into movement speed to move faster from pack to pack. Next up, we have a Rapture, which is our 5th skill, which is gonna be main attack speed increase. Points I put in here is because of the cooldown reduction. The cooldown here is bugged, but that's why I chose it. There's also Aspect that gives Weapon Mastery +1 charge. That might be handy as well. But I'm not sure if that one is actually from Dungeons. I don't think it is. After this, we would focus on picking passives. It's up to you which one I go for. You can go for Pit Fighter for that DR from distant. I'm more damage to close enemies and crit chance to stunt. As you can see, Upheaval stunts enemies. And we also have a little interaction. I will show you the aspects. We have Berserk Ripping. By the way, all these aspects are from dungeons. This is 100% drop rate, so you're guaranteed to get these if you do the dungeons. So Berserk Ripping, when you have Berserk active, you apply Bleed. And together with that, we have Anemia. You know, we have a chance to stun bleeding targets. So we could go for that. Let me get back here. Or you can go for the shout passives here for either duration of shouts and heal, or you can just get passives for berserking, so damage reduction, which was buffed in season 1, and this is getting buffed to season 2, so this is already crazy. Like, combine this free generation with Endless Fury, and that can go insane. That was the main problem with Barbarian, mainly for Upheaval, because it's an expensive skill, and it was kind of hard to get enough Fury for that to be effective. But now, with this attack speed increase, that's what exactly Upheaval needed. Faster attack speed because of the animation is slow, and then better Fury regen, which is right there. Next up, we have some damage while fortified, which we have fortified from Warcry. And Rallying Cry even, like with all this Fury regen, it might even go here. Or you could drop that, go for DR, which I don't think is worth because it's 9%, so not that great. Next we have Wrath of the Berserker. I'm a big fan of this one, I will show you why. You go for some more sustain heal for Fury spending, you know, get like 3 upheavals spent and you will have a heal for 9% of max HP. That's why we want to focus on that too. You could go for Wallop if you have bludgeoning for upheaval, for more damage, for stunt or into stunt or vulnerable enemies. And then we go Unconstrained, which is giving you 60% damage, not 25, because it was buffed in season 1. And this is what the passive is looking like. Like, the last couple of the points is up to you. You can spend it anywhere. Once again, if you struggle with survivability at this point, you can put points even in Garaliel. This is a very powerful passive. This is definitely going to be my focus on endgame build, 100%. So this was our skill tree. We are moving on to a Paragon board, and then we're going to take over or take a look at the aspects. But this is the first board. First glyph is Ire, to some more support the berserking, both damage reduction and the damage increase. And I was once again focusing on max HP everywhere, lacking 1 point here, but it's okay. Second board and glyph is going to be Carnage. They're buffing legendary nodes finally. That's another thing Barbarian missed. They did a great job with that. I think Barbarian is looking pretty nicely in the next season. So second glyph, we are going with Exploit for the vulnerability. As you can see, we have only like Flail when it comes to Source vulnerable. So all the required points are here. I chose level 1 glyphs because early on you won't be able to like level them. Also, another thing is this glyph drop is RNG, so you might not even get these, but try to focus on these or any of these I'm gonna show you. I will show the changes to legendary nodes, by the way, what I'm talking about. So Carnage here, the attack speed is increased from 8% to 16, which is absolutely cracked. And then we were gonna take Weapons Master is my favorite. Weapons grants you 4% of max fury. That's really wild. We might be even going for the passive that increases the fury, but we'll see about that. And another thing, Blood Rage. I'm really excited about this one, how it's gonna work. Your damage deal is increased by 25% multiplicatively of the total amount of your damage while berserking bonus. So you want to stack up on damage while berserking affixes on the weapons. That's what you could get. So probably that will be the play. This is our second board. I went with some more support for the berserking as well as here. Another board here. After this, we are gonna take the Weapon Masters for more fury. I just showed you what it is. Because we're gonna be swapping between like 3 weapons. You know, it's gonna be Flail, Upheaval, and Rapture. So that's not too bad. I went for some extra resistances. These nodes might get changed numbers or like the resistances, whatever. So also if you have, I'll talk about it later. So this is our next step. After this, we go on the fourth board, if you will, which is going to be a Blood Rage. I just showed you what it does. Pretty good, crazy stuff. I picked mainly these nodes for the Berserker duration, since this is all about berserking. Another glyph is Martial to support the shouts. We have 2 shouts, but also to bonus to magic nodes, which is going to support the DR from bleeding. We have Berserk Ripping and damage to bleeding enemies. Onto the next board, we have Flawless Technique. We are not taking this because it's for one-handers. We're also not taking this side because it's once again for one-handers. And this time we go with Imbiber because it requires willpower. If you're doing like half board of a glyph, it's pretty easy to get willpower, especially on this side because it's next to Close DR. So that's some good stuff. Also pick this node because it's the only 200 bonus armor. If you can meet the requirements, that is. So another great stuff. Now we are going back to Weapons Master, where we took the legendary node. We go through the glyph node and we take a next glyph, which is Might. Support magic nodes, but also damage from two-handers. Magic nodes mainly because of the armor here. So we might be even able to skip some armor on the body, so it's just the armor pieces, and get like resistances instead, because they changed the functionality of both, which is also in the patch notes. Once again, will be in the pinned comment section. So this our next board and last one is going to be a decimator, which I picked for the glyph, and that is a wrath, which is increasing a crit damage, but also when you crit, you generate fury. This is gonna be even more. It's gonna come in more handy to for that upheaval, which is expensive skill. But you should be focusing on the result generation on your rings and some fury cost reduction on your amulet, as well as boats. And once again, order of these glyphs early on, you might probably want to shuffle them around, because depending on your RNG, what you drop. But yeah, we're liking this close DR, sorry, vulnerable DR and vulnerable damage. Not sure how effective this will be, because again, they changed the buckets for crit damage and vulnerable. Also overpower might be worth, so we might be cooking up some overpower builds. And then here I went, you know, two of best of both worlds, if you will. Vulnerable and armor, I took them all. Might not even need these armor nodes, so you can put them away. Or you can change them and put them like resistances or stuff like that. We have some here with armor, might be even better actually. But yeah, this is the Paragon board, running 6 boards. I might use this on my other builds actually. This is not too bad at all. But we are not running flawless technique once again for one-handers, so for double swing it will be different. You might see my other builds that I'll be probably upload. It will probably have been uploaded by now. When it comes to character, like aspects, we got all of these from dungeons. Enemy I showed you. We got disobedience for the armor. They're already buffing this. Back to the preseason or one. We had these numbers similar, or even if they may be the same. It's pretty crazy. Now, if you're struggling with survivability, you can put disobedience on amulet, which is 50 times. 50. I wish 50 times. 50% stronger, so 1.5 times stronger than this. Than normal piece. And you can just swap a rapid, so you would put rapid on gloves, but on amulet I pick basic skill, so, you know, to faster build up, more often vulnerable. We go with DR from basic skills on pants, Edge Master and Retribution two-handers, because they are 100% stronger aspects on two-handers, so I'm focusing a lot on damage to stun with Upheaval, but also on my double swing. But yeah, this is damage depending on the primary resource, damage to stun. That's why we're also rocking one-handed expertise, one-handed mace, to further increase damage to stunned enemies with Retribution. Our Rain Bolt Chieftain, I'm not sure if we will have access to this from Codex of Power, because in Season 1 we were able to obtain this from the Season Chapter, which was part of Codex of Power, so we'll see about that. On the ring there is another aspect you can take it from dungeons, I believe it's called Echoing Fury, but I wasn't able to pick it here. One-hander is Berserk Ripping, or they explain this, and then Expectant. If you damage with basic attack, then you will have more damage for a core skill, you know, super awesome. And then Chariot, we got Vampiric Powers, the new Season 2 mechanic, right? So these are the sigils you're required to add. These sigils will go on armor. So this is the setup I went with. So why I picked Wrath of the Berserker, because there's amazing Vampiric Power that supports it, and that is right here. Ultimate skills gain 20% cooldown reduction, and then your ultimate skill gained increased damage for each nearby enemy affected by our dot. And since Upheaval is pretty good AoE, we have dot from bleed over here, or you could even go with 200 sword for bleed. It's up to you. Then this will be active, but I'm not sure it's gonna work with Wrath of the Berserker, since that's a buff. So is that going to increase our damage? Since it's gonna increase the damage for ultimate skill. I'm not 100% sure how this works, but overall, I mean, already for the cooldown reduction, I would still pick it up. I would still pick it because like Berserking just gives too many benefits to you know, pass up on this ultimate skill. And on top of that, going quickly over a new unique item added for Barbarian, which is going to be, I will unequip real quick. Unequip. I'm lost in the sauce. So it's somewhere. Oh, my bad. It's right here. So when you're berserking when you gain berserking while already berserk, you have a chance to become more enraged, granting more damage here per second, which is going to be increased with result generation on rings, for example, or rallying cry, and then even more cooldown reduction. So that right there is 30% cooldown reduction for ultimate skill if you're able to get this one, which would be pretty crazy good. But yeah, we'll see how it works. So it's more for endgame. Next up we have Metamorphosis. When you're evading, you will be able to become unstoppable, which is CC immunity. We already have one from Wrath of the Berserker, but also Rallying Cry. But with still with 2 skills, there are windows where you will find yourself being CC'd. So physical damage, not too bad, might be good damage, but if you get implicit on boots, that gives you extra evade charges, or that your evade is getting evade's cooldown is getting reduced by each hit you do, which I think is gonna be the strongest implicit for this vampiric power. That should be pretty interesting. Next up we have Fortify. This one is basing off base life, which is kind of interesting. Oh, because you kill an enemy, right? That will be too OP. But when you are when the Fortify is more than half of your HP, max HP, you will gain crit chance. And it's coming handy with that No Mercy passive from skill tree. We got Ravenous. This one is increasing our attack speed of our total movement speed. Since our movement speed is pretty good from berserking and our uptime is great on that, it should also take into consideration the movement speed from berserking. I'm curious how often we can proc this, since Upheaval's AoE, we're gonna affect a lot of targets. This might not be as good on single target on bosses, but I'm just curious how often it's gonna be proccing. And once again, like I explained, Upheaval's slow animation, we're looking for the most attack speed as possible. Maybe this one might not even count towards the attack speed cap, so we might be able even to reach more than 150%, because that's what I was able to reach before in Season 1. Last power here, we got the Hemomancy, which is dealing... I'm curious about this one as well. I find this... I think this is gonna be very strong. So your attacks deal 80% of your max HP, that's why I'm stacking max HP everywhere I can. As physical damage to nearby enemies, it can occur once every 4 seconds, and then you heal for 1% of max HP for each enemy damage this way. So we already have 3 ways of getting max HP, right? From Shouts, from Spending Fury, and from this Vampiric Power. So Sustain for Barbarian is looking very sweet. Same goes for Fortify, and from the Shout as well. I guess that goes for every class with this Vampiric Power, but we'll see about that. I will show you the combo wombo in game. I didn't get DC, that's good. So what you're gonna do, you want to buff yourself with Rallying Cry, War Cry, and then once you approach mobs, you go with Rapture to proc attack speed, Flay or Flail, either or. You want to use both, obviously, to proc vulnerable first from Flail. Buff yourself with attack speed here and go with Upheaval. And you want to start with Wrath of the Berserker as well, with something like that. Flail or vice versa, and then you with Upheaval. But I didn't get Fury because I don't have target here. Obviously, we get more thanks to the basic skill. And that's pretty much it. Wrath of the Berserker, you might want to like sometimes save it if you are, let's say, Nightmare Dungeon that is very CC heavy. Even though they nerfed CC, it should not be a problem. But you might want to wait with that or stall with that. Another great thing why this is very good support for Upheaval, even though they kind of kept the passive for Wrath of the Berserker. In the next upcoming patch here. Right now in this version you could stack this infinitely if you were Spending Fury, but now they kept it at 100% damage bonus. So you can stack this 4 times. So 200 Fury. But that's another great thing, because you won't kind of have to have like expensive skill, which is Upheaval, to proc that as soon as possible. So that's not too bad. With the cooldown reduction for ultimate skills, I believe that's pretty sweet. But yeah, anyways, I will have this build in the pinned comment. Once again, I stream every day on Twitch. Also, link there to my Twitch. And I might miss the race on launch. I might be a couple hours later because I gotta do some RL. But I'm gonna be blasting this season. I cannot wait for these changes. Barbarian looking finally pretty good. That's what I hated before. I hated Barbarian being pretty, reliant on others, especially early on. But yeah. Thank you all for watching. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions, hit me up. And until then, you guys have a good one. Take it easy and peace.